There were some in Nuru's home settlement who would definitely scold him for taking the winding, almost forgotten paths through this forest. Paths that antelopes and the occasional larger animal held open like doormen at a hotel. Game trails were risky business in Africa, but Nuru had never once seen a leopard in these woods. If anything, leopards avoided the dark trees like the plague. These woods were infamous in tribal history for monsters and disappearances, but the cell phone in Nuru's pocket told him that monsters couldn't be real. No creatures can turn a body to stone with its gaze, and nothing goes undiscovered in a modern era of information and technology. As he walked, the man marveled at the carpet of leaves to either side of his chosen game trail, leaves painted in tapestries by magnificent shafts of sunlight from the canopy. How could a monster persist in a place like this? A place of beauty where not even leopards or dogs hunted. Then Nuru froze. The snake was staring at him from an eye level about 20 feet away. Its head supported on a neck thicker than Nuru's entire torso. Its body was thicker still, but camouflaged so perfectly in the leaf litter that the man could only really see the head and neck. Nuru felt its eyes lock onto his own. And then the thing's mouth opened. Pink flesh blossomed, fangs longer than Nuru's own hands unfurled, and then shot twin streams of opaque fluid directly into his eyes. Exclaiming in shock, the man took several quick steps back, doing his best to wipe the stuff off his face, but his hands didn't seem to want to behave. It started as a wave of spasms in his extremities, eyelids, fingers, toes, scalp. He took a step backwards, but the shakes were crawling inwards. They moved like a cold wave through his body, causing spasms at the wave's crest, but leaving the body devoid of motion after the passing. Nuru didn't have time to run. He took one step before his legs gave, leaving him on the forest floor to stare at the canopy. He heard it then, a delicate scraping almost like a gentle whisper of leaves. Nuru forced air out of his lungs to scream for help, but it escaped his unhelpful mouth like a whisper, mingling with a soft hiss that patiently grew closer through the brush. And as the fanged jaws parted over his unresponsive legs, Nuru was seized with the realization that some paths are better left untraveled. Welcome to the Snicker Snack Podcast. My name is Caleb. I'm joined by my co-host, Cal.
Yet again, it's me. Hello.
It's that guy. That one over there. Second episode.
Here we are.
Boom, baby. Let's date this right now real quick.
Back at it again.
Back at it again. Every Friday we've been putting these things out. You see, now, because we're recording on a Wednesday, that means I have to work extra hard to make sure that this gets out on Friday.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Whatever. It is what it is. So, today, we got a little bit of a thing. We were scratching our brains as to where we wanted to go for the second episode, and we decided that we fell on petrification.
Petrification.
Creatures that petrify.
Stoners. They turn you to stone.
Stoners.
It's correct.
That's what we're calling them.
Yeah.
Stoners. Yeah,
Maybe.
no, screw it. Yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Scrooners. Scrooners?
Stoners.
Stoners.
Do you want a scone?
Dude. Man, I could down a scone.
I'll go for a scone right now.
I could scone.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely scone. Regardless of scone-based interruptions, yes, creatures that petrify. And we did a little bit of research, both of us.
A little bit.
You know, it's a little different between him and I last time, right? He did all the research last time. I did a little bit today, too. Okay, I feel like I deserve a little bit of a medal, a little reward, right?
I bestow upon you the medal of doing research.
The medal of you did the basic, you did the minimum.
We both did the bare minimum.
God, it was like an afternoon of just like, hey, look at this article, that's cool.
Here's one, why not? Talk about this one.
Let's do it. Either way. So, we got a couple different creatures, right? This isn't like Sasquatch where there's Sasquatch
one
and then
focus.
That's kind of the main thing. We've got a couple different ones, right? Yeah. Of course, Cal's going to say that we have 4. I'm going to say that we have 3. Because 2 of them is the cockatrice and the basilisk. And I think they're the same damn thing.
They have a lot of similar traits. I think that there are differences where it matters enough. There are 2 of them.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, we're jumping into it.
Yeah.
a cockatrice or a cockatrice. I've heard it said both ways. I honestly don't have a preference. I fluctuate as I see fit. One of them is a serpent with a chicken head, or a crown. So here, I guess we'll start with the basilisk. A king of serpents, as it were.
Which is also depicted as a serpent with a chicken head.
Occasionally. Called a king of serpents because they have something adjacent to a crown. And I think that some artists were like, a crown, like a chicken's comb, like a rooster's comb. And then somewhere along the way, these two beings, these two fictional beasties kind of blended together a little bit. And basilisks are sometimes, I know there's one depiction of them that's described as being like maybe 12 inches long. And then other times you get the Harry Potter basilisk, as it were,
right,
which is a 60-foot long, really big snake.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's things like that change over time when it comes to folklore, mythology, things like that. But I think the main shtick is a lizard or a snake.
It's usually snake.
Snake, sometimes a lizard that turns you into stone.
Yep.
That petrifies you. And sometimes is portrayed with the head of a rooster. Now you have the cockatrice.
Oh boy. Yeah, the cockatrice. Now, let's not get it twisted here. A cockatrice, or cockatrice, is the body of a rooster with a serpent's tail and sometimes a serpent's head. Or serpentine traits. It's difficult. It's difficult. Like Caleb said, there's a little bit of a similarity where if you look at its eyes, you turn to stone. Or maybe if it bites you, there's a little bit of fluctuation that happens there.
Now, the basilisk is the one that also has poison breath. Or is that the cockatrice?
They kind of both do.
They both... Okay, so they both have poison... They
basilisks...
both have poison breath, death glares, are chicken snakes, and... Yeah.
I would argue that a basilisk is a snake chicken, and a cockatrice is a chicken snake.
That is the dumbest distinction I've ever heard.
Well, hear me out, because I think it stands. I think it fits.
Is this like...
Hopefully, maybe.
Is this like the difference between a centaur and a man with a horse head?
That is a different animal. Literally and figuratively, because it's a horse. Also...
What if it was a...
Oh, no.
What if it was a human legs with a horse torso?
I love that.
With a human head. Or no, it'd have to be a horse head.
It would have to be a horse head, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horse torso, a horso, if you will.
A horse... This is stupid. I think we're off topic.
We've
got a lot to go through.
We do. We have a few. We have a few things to...
Okay, so the cockabasilisk, the cockalisk.
How dare you?
The bassitrice. Same damn thing. Yep. Okay, go on.
Okay, going on.
Continue.
Wow, well,
that's really it, isn't it?
They also they have some interesting methods of appearing. I think for both of them, or maybe I'm confused, but it seems like both of them spring from chicken eggs that are hatched under a specific animal. And basilisks are hatched under, I believe it's a toad, or an egg laid by a rooster on a full moon at exactly midnight.
Yeah, I think the basilisk one is definitely the laid by a rooster.
Right.
Which, again...
Not really possible,
I mean, so is a basilisk.
Chickens these days are very progressive, you know? It can be... Let's see. And then I read somewhere, not sure where, because my memory is a dead dog, that a cockatrice is hatched under a snake sometimes.
Right.
Maybe. I've heard that somewhere. I don't have a source. So
sources, I made it that.
Yep, my source is that I made it up. Thanks, Senator Armstrong. But yeah, they do have a lot of consistencies. Don't look at them.
Yeah, don't look at them. But even if you don't look at them, there's also, the poison breath. Now, the great thing about basilisks, though, is they can be warded off by weasels and can only be killed by the cry of a rooster, which is really specific.
Specific.
And until, I say not too long ago, but before the modern era, before the industrial and all that stuff, revolution and all that stuff, travelers would carry roosters with them where they thought that there would be basilisks because they thought, if there's a basilisk, we'd kill it with a rooster. And that's just a ward.
Yeah.
Which is nutty to think.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. They were really on top of their game back in the day.
It's also a really weird weakness.
Yeah. I'm not sure about can only be killed by a rooster's crow. Yeah. I know that will just insta-kill them. One tap, 360 no scope, the poor basilisk, and they will die.
Well, of course, I believe you in that regard because, Senior 12 gauge is a very powerful deterrent to things. But according to the myth itself, it is stated that only the cry of a rooster can kill a...
Only the cry.
Only the cry. Is what I read. There could be... It's a really old myth, so there's always different takes on it.
I mean, where my brain goes is, why would they fear the scent of a weasel if not a weasel? Because we both understand that weasels and mustelids in general are just tiny little crackheads who run into danger and tear it apart.
I believe I read something that it ate the rue plant.
Yeah, like a rue plant is a ward, or weasels are attracted to rue.
The basilisk doesn't like the smell of rue. Rue is one of the things that wards off basilisks. And if the weasel eats rue, then the weasel smells like rue. And then you end up with, did blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, it's like, well, a deer that got extra frisky in the rue fields, I mean, would be no different. But I can see where the connection goes.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about, what about the cockatrice's weaknesses?
Well, sadly, there's so little difference. I believe firmly that they are two different animals, because I see cockatrices they've got, it's a chicken. It's a chicken. Sometimes it's got dragon wings. Sometimes it's presented as a form of lesser dragon. Very, very lesser, because they're small.
And you immediately got attention. You're like, oh
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Dragon?
Me and dragons.
Dragon chicken.
Yeah. It would be a wyvern, since we're dragon purists here. So 2 legs, 2 wings, that's a wyvern. But I don't know. I guess there is the one tried and true, which I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but a mirror. Because if you have something that petrifies and or kills with a glance, then showing it a picture of itself...
Wouldn't that be kind of like a bad idea if you were a creature that could petrify things with a glance, and then you went to go get a drink out of a pond or a puddle or something, and then you immediately petrified yourself?
Well, there is the... what do I want to call it? The Harry Potter rule, where when the basilisk is going around the school, it doesn't kill the people who look at it because they all see it indirectly. And so instead they just get kind of stunned or petrified for a little while. So maybe we're looking at something like that, where it is really, you're looking directly into its eyes, and for you are going to turn to stone now.
Right, so... a basilisk has to close its eyes every time it goes to get a sippy sip.
Or, and here's something I like, nictating membranes, which a lot of animals have them. They are the transparent third eyelid that seals over.
Yeah.
And so when I creature design, and I have something that for some reason doesn't want to show its eyes off, just like little sunglasses that flip over.
That's kind of cool, right? Because could you imagine if you were like a basilisk hunter, and so you had glasses with the membrane over top of the glass, or like scuba or like a swimming goggles?
Yeah, I mean anything that's going to break direct line of sight potentially. Which I guess I'll take this and turn it into the speculative side of things, because we like to do that here.
Right. We do have a couple more creatures, but
I'm going to do a basilisk and a cockatrice separately. Because I can.
That's fair. The other two are kind of footnotes, mostly.
Yeah, I mean, these two are well, aside from number 3, these are like the big name in turning things to stone. Spoiler alert. Maybe there's a third.
Maybe it's kind of crazy we didn't start with that one, but
right? But here we are.
We wanted to get into the rough and tumble of it,
right? So, I think for a basilisk, we have something described as a king of serpents. I'm gonna ignore the part about it being small because that's not fun. So, what's a serpent that could be associated with having a crown that's going to get up and look you in the eye level?
Spitting cobra.
Yeah, cobra, spitting cobra. King cobra. Cobras.
Just cobras.
Cobras. They like to get in your face. Mambas will also get in your face. There are a lot of elipid snakes that like to stare you in the face and then bite you. Or, as you brought up, spit. And if back in the day you're thinking, well, here's this thing, I'm going to look at it. I'm suddenly blind and my eyes are on fire. People who have no idea how the concept of spitting venom and a spiral corkscrew pattern inside of the fang works would say, oh shoot, I looked at this snake and now I can't see. Must be a deadly basilisk.
Right.
Right? And so, yeah, that's one way of squaring it. Like, what if a basilisk is just a real mean-spirited cobra that, I mean, I don't think it would even have to be too different from your good old-fashioned, how do you say that one African? The wrinkles? It's Rinkl, I should have known. It's not wrinkles with a W, I know that. It's wrinkles.
Right, is this a creature?
Yeah, it's not a fictional creature, it's a real snake.
Oh, okay, I was about to pull out the Encyclopedia of Monsters real quick.
Yeah, but no, essentially just a spitting cobra.
I see.
It wouldn't need to be too different, honestly, because, I mean, spitting cobras can
and it looks at you. That's the main thing.
It looks at you, and then it spits.
Straight up looks at your face.
Real quick on that draw, and then the person dies. And now we can get into something that I'll touch again on the cockatrice, wherein venom is a really, really versatile thing.
Right.
There's an animal with just about every kind of venom you can imagine. We both appreciate the boomslang snake.
God, my beloved, the boomslang.
Bleed from every orifice until you die. That's a way to go.
What an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Nature is the best inventor and always will be. Yeah. And so I think that turning to stone is a little bit much. But creature design, all of your muscles go entirely rigid and you can't move.
Right.
And this would, in the case of a basilisk, if a cobra is spitting its venom, it's doing it in self-defense.
Right.
So really, you look at the cobra, it's like, oh shoot, I would prefer that you didn't do that, sir. Spit in your eyes, you're stuck, a pack of hyenas are going to come and eat your nose. That's a...
On the other hand,
yeah,
big snake. Right? How big of snake were we talking? Because it says that it goes up to like, what? 40 feet or something?
40 feet is Harry Potter's basilisk, but there is the... All right, editor Caleb put in that one wall mural of a really big basilisk with a person's legs in its mouth.
Right,
and yeah, I guess if we're talking almost instant paralysis and hunting from a distance, maybe it's a little bit slow because it's a big snake. Yeah, we could absolutely be looking at a hunting method.
If it's not fast and it needs to stop something before it can escape, or it's also... It hunts things that are dangerous if they wriggle, right? And so it's a case of, well, I'm going to just nip that in the bud real quick. And so it sprays it, and then it can't move. It goes into the world's worst cramps. Just everything seizes up. Kind of like being tased, huh?
Probably. I could see that.
Imagine
tasing, but permanent.
Well, yeah. Imagine having all your muscles contracted all at once.
I mean, that's why they call black mambas the bottoms-up snake, is that sometimes, or the backbreaker. Bottoms up because you have time to take a shot after you're bitten. Backbreaker because your muscles can seize so violently that you snap your own spine.
Oh my god.
That's a black mamba.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh god. Snakes are terrifying.
I love snakes.
Me
they
too.
are perfect little guys. But yeah, I guess, yeah, you make a really compelling point, because if we're talking about African or Asian spitting cobras, then eating deer are wiggly and have horns, and even pythons get poked occasionally from the inside, which is not a fun thing to have happen if you're something that swallows prey whole.
Right. And another thing, right, because there's the idea of both having poison breath and the gaze. That's, what if it was one and the same? One and the same. Right? It's a spray of something.
Ooh. What if it doesn't even need to be taken in through your eyes? What if it's a gas? What if it's a very finely almost misted venom that when inhaled causes that effect to take place?
Well, yeah, if it was like a mist just sprayed out. The problem is you don't end up with distance anymore.
No, not as much distance. But, now, if you look at something like a cone snail, they have a bunch of different venoms that they mix on the fly, depending on what kind of animal they're targeting. Like, they'll use a different toxin for a fish versus a slightly slower fish or another smaller snail. Cone snails, man. I'll go on that rant eventually.
Yeah, I've never looked into cone snails. I need to look at that. That sounds horrifying.
Terrifying.
Jeez.
Yeah.
God. So what we're saying is that we have a snake,
very large
snake that sprays a venom. Well, it's a big snake.
It's a big snake.
You can imagine that it's venom sacs, whatever we want to call them.
Venom glands.
Glands are larger than the average, spitting cobra.
So
what are you saying? Like, instead of just a spray, it just hoses someone down with it.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be interesting.
It's like, oh, yeah, you're frozen. You're done. Freeze tag.
Dunzo.
Now, because of the nature of spitting cobras, you know this.
I probably
I won't know this because I'm not a snake guy. Is it permanent blindness?
For a spitting cobra, I think it is.
Is it?
I know they can kill you. I think that if you get it in the eye with a spitting cobra, and they're accurate, they can get you in the eye from like 16 feet away.
Jeez.
You can die in like 8 or 9 hours.
From the venom.
The venom can reach your heart, and you can die.
I didn't know that.
So with an appropriate venom, you could get maybe instant paralysis, but then death in like 2 hours. But it's going to eat you alive either way.
Well, so there also comes this other part about running water being the way to unpetrify someone.
Right.
So washing someone of the venom as to counteract it, but to stop it from.
Well, see, now you're applying a folklore remedy to a speculative scientific creature, and that's where
we get a little weird again, because I'm the folklore guy and you're the speculative guy. Because throughout a lot of these, by a lot I mean all of them, I don't know about Gorgons, but
spoiler alert,
name drop. Not like no one thought that was going to come.
No one thought of Medusa.
No.
We're not talking about her yet.
I don't rightly remember if it was Medusa, but the running water being a way to stop petrification.
I know that it's something with King Midas, his petrification, which I'm sorry, all you King Midas fans out there, we're not going to talk about him. I don't think he counts as a cryptid or a creature. He's just a guy who made a stupid wish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Midas, and I think Medusa's petrification, if you take the body and you put it in a running river, it has to be like a fresh running river, they will unpetrify.
Well, and the other creature that we have on this list is also, the petrification will go away if you just dump a bucket of water on their head.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, I don't know about the cockatrice. I don't think it's ever stated. The basilisk or the cockatrice
are unfortunately quite close together, but treating them separately.
Right.
Treating them separately. I'd say if it applies to one, maybe it applies to both. Although, realistically, looking at I'm getting sidetracked here. Well, no. Now I've just had a brain fart. Where was I going with this?
Water.
It comes
Separate.
to. It kind of comes back to the theory that if a snake bites someone or a scorpion stings someone, you can suck the venom out.
Right.
That venom's already in your bloodstream, and it's already been pumped in there. You're gonna be sucking up some blood. Maybe you get a bitter taste. Tasty vampires, not yet. You're really not gonna get that venom out of there. Maybe, I mean, assuming that the venom works kind of in a spidery or parasitoid wasp kind of way, so it's keeping the victim's like circulatory, respiratory, all of the essentials up and running. You just can't move any of your voluntary muscles.
Right.
Maybe something like that.
Well, so when I was a kid, right, I had a bunch of VHS tapes of Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, our beloved.
Rest in peace forever.
Rest in peace, Steve.
Steve Irwin. You know, his kid's basically just taking up the mantle.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like him. It's crazy.
Great guy.
Awesome. I need to go to that zoo.
Mm-hmm.
But Steve Irwin, I remember watching, he had a tape on spitting cobras, right? And, I mean, Steve Irwin was a nut, right?
He was a wacky guy.
The only thing that separated him dealing with King Cobra versus, or it's not King Cobra, spitting cobra versus the other cobras, is that he would put on a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
And
really, that's all you need.
That's all you need. So,
I mean, the venom, I think, can burn you if it contacts your skin. But you keep going.
Yeah, it burn you, but not,
it's not going to immediately enter the
Contact poisons are a little iffy. Most of the time.
I agree.
Right. So,
you need to be I forget the full scientific name, but P. terribilis, the yellow poison frog, the most poisonous animal on Earth.
Right, yeah.
Where if it touches you on a cut that's healed and been healed for a while, the venom still seeps in and enters your blood's poison. Enters your bloodstream, and you're gonna have a bad time. Don't eat P. terribilis. They are not your friends.
Don't pet P. terribilis.
Don't do it. Although they are adorable. They have beady black eyes, and they're yellow, and they're just little frogs.
Yeah, little murder death frogs. Little sticky, little slimy murder death frogs.
It's a small price to pay for not being eaten, is having poison all over you.
Right.
Which
you can't get hugs.
Right. I'm gonna backtrack back to basilisks, our theoretical cobra basilisk.
Right.
And I'm going to ask a question that maybe you know the answer to, maybe not. I'm a snake guy, so I have an idea. How big does a cobra have to be to swallow someone whole?
Well, I know they did that test where they had, it wasn't a cobra, but there was that really dumb test where they had there's gonna the swallow.
Are you talking about the guy in the suit of armor who said an anaconda was going to eat him?
Yeah. That guy.
Okay.
An anaconda could swallow a whole person.
An anaconda can absolutely swallow a person.
So I want to have to say roughly anaconda sized.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Because no. An anaconda is a big snake. It's also a girthy snake.
Right.
A king cobra is the longest venomous snake, up to 18 feet long. I'm confident that an 18-footer anaconda could swallow a person. I would bet my life's savings, which, wow, that isn't that much.
It's I would $5 in a punch card to Subway.
Yeah, oh boy. I would bet a considerable amount of money, if I had it, that no king cobra could swallow a person who weighs more than 100 pounds.
Understandable.
So,
They're not very girthy.
They're not. They are the eaters of snakes. That's why king cobra is called a king cobra. It's the king of snakes. It eats pythons. It eats reticulated pythons. They're really good at eating snakes. I'm getting sidetracked. You know what snakes can swallow the most weight relative to their body length?
Which snakes or what snake?
Which snake? What snake? It's the group of snakes. It's vipera. It's vipers. So, cobras can be pretty fast. Cobras can be surprisingly fast. Cobras and mambas are both in, I think it's Elapidae, the really aggressive biting boys.
Well, they're also half their bodies off the ground when they come at you, so
yeah,
they'll have less surface, not tension, but friction
I mean,
they're running
surface
at you.
tension, traction, body to surface contact.
Slither.
I like the idea of a viper doing that. Like a viper basilisk. Because vipers are girthy, vipers are pretty slow, and vipers can spray venom. Now, they don't do it to target prey. I'm mainly basing this off of clips I've seen of like a big gaboon viper or like a death adder opening its mouth and you see a little psh of venom come out of its fangs.
I just had an idea.
Let's hear it.
So there's those lizards. I think it's a lizard, or it might be a toad, where
Which one?
they shoot blood from their eyes.
That is I understand your confusion. It's a Texas horn lizard, also known as a horny toad.
Everything about naming conventions is dumb.
Yeah.
Either way, shooting, is it blood that they shoot from their eyes?
It is blood.
It is blood.
Bitter blood enhanced by the formic acid from the ants that they eat.
So I was just thinking, death sight, freaking blood,
death sight, but it's
blood laser.
I like it. It's
spray.
interesting.
But of course, having a poison gland that is supposed to stop people from moving next to your eyes is probably not it doesn't make a lot of sense, because you got the fangs and that works and it exists in nature. So you're like, well, why not?
I mean, it would have to be immune to its own venom, which surprisingly not all snakes are. There are venomous snakes who bite themselves, and then have like a seizure.
Huh.
Yeah. So don't get that in your bloodstream.
Right. Wonder what would happen if a boom sling bit itself.
I would expect boom sling things would happen. But, that's a theory. That's just a game theory on here.
Hey, thanks
Cryptid
for
theory.
watching.
So, that's basilisk. Do we want to talk about basilisk counters, or do we want to loop that in with cockatrice once I hit it?
I think basilisk encounters probably go hand in hand with cockatrice encounters.
All right, I'll do
unless,
counters.
of course, we're talking about weasels,
which
tend to really only basilisks.
I mean, what's a cobra's mortal enemy?
Weasel,
mongoose,
yeah.
And a mongoose is pretty similar to a weasel. Maybe the mongoose anti-snake buff applies. Who knows? Okay, cockatrice.
Mm-hmm.
My speculative take is a deep one.
Okay.
And it's not one that we can reliably say. I mean, think about a chicken.
Right.
But you need it to have snake-like features. And how do we get snake-like features on a chicken? Well, we have to go back in time.
Are you making a cockatrice raptor?
I'm making an excuse to talk about dinosaurs.
Because
if there's anything I like doing...
Man, I didn't know it was going to be the second episode. Here we are, guys.
Talking about dinosaurs.
Woo!
Now, for all you dinosaur enjoyers, we are going to do a dedicated episode at some point talking about the DRC. Mokele Mbembe, Elmanutuka, the killer of elephants, probably Kongmanoto, the pterosaur, all that fun stuff. In this one, I'm going to talk about little dromaeosaurs. We're talking like Rahanevis, we're talking Archaeopteryx, we're talking about itty-bitty little itty-bitty raptors.
Man, I can't wait to do the editing on this video and then have to put in a whole bunch of pictures of dinosaurs so that people that don't know dinosaurs can go, oh yeah, that's a dinosaur.
Imagine a bird. I mean, here's the thought process, right? We think about a chicken, and now give this chicken a long tail, give it slightly more terrifying looking claws, only a little bit, and obviously the signature raptor talons, and then give it less defined wings, maybe equally defined wings, since chickens aren't exactly the best flyers, and wing claws, and then of course teeth. Now, this is a mouthful. It's something to look at. And now, think about a predator, a small dromaeosaur that is somehow, we're not going to think about the logistics of how, but it's somehow existing in a modern day. Maybe in somewhere very secluded.
You got Mokele Mbembe and whatnot and all that stuff. So dinosaurs being cryptids is fine.
It's pretty frequent.
Don't worry about being outcompeted by mammals and all that stuff, and nature. Don't forget all that. These are cryptids.
These are cryptids.
They don't have to make sense.
Let us have our fun.
They're beautiful.
Mm-hmm. They are beautiful and perfect. So,
heck.
so
raptor cockatrice.
Right. It is small. It is unassuming, and it, for the purposes, imagine a vulture, because we need it to look snake-like.
Right.
And so instead of having the full head feathers, I propose kind of a vulture situation where, to reach inside of corpses, getting to that in a second, it's got featherless head. Maybe snaky, maybe just skin, maybe scales, maybe skin. But either way, it looks like someone put a snake head on a chicken body, and it's also got a long tail. It fits. The mental image fits. Now we're going to talk about petrification, because there's paralysis, and then there's being petrified. So, there was, for a long time, a theory that the Chinese dromaeosaur Sinornithosaurus was venomous, because people saw little spaces above its fangs. It had grooves in its teeth, and people are like, okay, venom glands, venom delivery, we have a venomous dromaeosaur. Venomous raptor.
I mean, I can't think of any venomous dinosaurs that we have.
Because Jurassic Park made Dilophosaurus up, or at least Dilophosaurus is venom. Dilophosaurus was very real, stood like 10 feet tall, 20 feet long. It was a big boy, but that's besides the point. I think that I've not stayed up to date, but I think that the venomous Sinornithosaurus theory has been, at the very least, contested in a way that can't be disputed, at the most debunked, because I know a lot of carnivores have those grooves on their teeth. It's like stress, or I don't know for sure.
Or maybe there's more,
or maybe
venomous dinosaurs.
Maybe they were all venomous. We have no way of knowing. But for the purposes of this discussion, we have a venomous dromaeosaur that is small, and it's bitey, and if it's going to bite a person, and its venom's going to do a few specific things. The first of which is paralysis. Talked about it with the basilisk. You can't move now. And so you have a tiny little predator that is really fast, and it's going to get up on you once, and it's going to bite you, and it's going to do a little chicken glide away, and you're going to fall over, unable to move. And then it's going to cut you open and reach inside and start chewing.
As it does.
Now, there's another thing, which I see with a lot of people's world-building basilisk stuff. If they choose not to just give them magic powers.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. See, magic powers are fun. But science...
Yeah, except when you're trying to get past me saying a gun beats all of your dragons.
It's a sad world that we live in, where I had to resort to using extra-dimensional bull crap to succeed.
Yeah, Battleship Canon kind of nutty, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Godzilla.
Magic.
Godzilla isn't magic.
Godzilla is 100% magic.
Ain't no way.
Absolutely. He
He's
regenerated from nothing.
Yeah?
That's Wolverine.
No, that's called the Regenerator G1. We can get into it, but not now.
But not today.
Maybe we do a Godzilla episode.
Probably not. Not a cryptid, but I want him to be.
We wish that Godzilla was no, because we wouldn't be able to stop him.
No,
we've gone off the rails. Something that people do with their cockatrices or their basilisks. Petrification. Now, we've said this word a few times. What does it mean? Turn to stone. We've said that too. What if the venom causes the outermost layer of skin to calcify? The inside stays fresh. The inside stays nice and meaty. But it's going to bite you, and you're going to essentially look like you've been wrapped in toenails.
So, how fast could the outer layers... Because there are medical conditions where people grow, it's either warts or growths on the outside of the skin that are super hard, and you got to take an angle grinder to them or whatever, and it's nutty, right? So if you're saying that, right, that's a medical condition that takes place over the course of someone's entire life,
right?
And you're considering that a venom might cause some sort of, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, genome imbalance or some sort of DNA messing up to cause calcification to the outside of the skin.
Something along those lines. Or it's, I mean, yes, I'm going to put it in science words.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Venom can travel through a prey item's body very quickly. There are animals that can kill you within 10 minutes of injecting, like the sea wasp. Maybe even less for a sea wasp. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but topic for another time. Imagine the venom as it travels through the skin, the dermis, gives your cells instructions to replicate, and somehow bypasses that body code of you can only replicate at X speed. It gives you cancer.
It gives you tumors.
And makes it really, really fast acting.
It makes a tumor across your skin.
Your skin is a tumor, and you can't move. You've been paralyzed for this. And so, I don't know why this would happen, or why it's more...
What if by calcifying the body, it allows for the body to last for a longer amount of time?
Yeah, it's a...
Or keeps smaller
storage.
predators like flies or something from going after... Then again, they go for like open wounds and eyes and stuff, but could be smaller, less specialized predators couldn't really get through the toughened skin. I mean, unless you're like in Africa, then then things can get through crazy thick skin. But in other places,
cockatrice myths come from England,
I
believe, and so England, you're not really working with too many big land predators. I mean, unless
I'm aware of, I think there were wolves.
There were wolves
at some point.
I don't
know if there's any more.
I think there are European bears, but those are few and far between.
Right.
And so, really, in like a forest or moorland environment, they wouldn't really have too many scavengers and anything that would gets driven away by... Maybe it also contains the scent. Maybe something like that. I don't know. We're reaching here.
We're deep reaching.
We've already brought a dromaeosaur back from the dead.
For a cockatrice.
Yeah. Which I stand by. I
think that's neat, and it separates the two between each other, because as it stands, a cockatrice and a basilisk are the same thing.
Not quite the same thing.
They're so close that it might as well be the same thing.
Chicken snake and snake chicken.
Man bear pig.
Man bear pig. Oh no. Not man bear pig. We're not talking about man bear pig.
No.
He's not
real. You don't have to be scared of him.
Half bear, half pig. It's not how halves work.
So, off of that, do we want to move into the next little gusset?
Well, we want... Okay, we have two options here, and we haven't thought this through before.
No.
So, do we want to talk about the countermeasures to these things now, or do everything in one big batch at the end?
Let's save the counters to things at the end.
All right.
I think that's a good idea.
So we can move into the next one. And are we doing
the Medusa?
Oh no!
I can't help it, man.
The Medusa. It's Medusa. It's Gorgons.
Medusa.
We know them. We love them. They've got snake hair.
I don't know if we can really do a whole lot of speculative biology on this one. It's Medusa. We can't really do that. It's a mythological.
This is magical powers. And it's difficult because on one hand we have it's a little bird. He's a little guy. If he bites you, watch out. Your skin's going to calcify. Or big snake. This is the child of a sea god and
and something else.
Of
and
Poseidon and one of his honeys in a temple of Athena, and Athena didn't like that, and so
depends on how old you're willing to go on these legends.
Yeah.
One of Poseidon's honeys.
But yeah, the Gorgons, the three sisters of Gorgons, which everyone knows Medusa, and then you also have Stheno and Urael. And
those, everyone knows those. I definitely know all the names of those things.
Now,
yep.
I know that there are qualities that not all three sisters share.
Well, Medusa was the only mortal one.
Yes, that's correct. Her sisters were not mortal. And I think maybe all three of them had wings. I think all three of them had wings because
that's how they're depicted. In the original,
the old
version
Greek.
Is that. So in the original version of the Medusa story, it wasn't Poseidon. It was a different sea god, and another god had scrumbles and had a couple of kids. And he had 3 kids, and those were the Gorgons, as far as I remember. Those were monsters, just straight up monsters
from the start.
Yeah,
they were beasts,
and so their appearance was monstrous. Now, when you get into the later Roman era, and they start to change the Medusa story as less of a monster and more of a
victim.
Exactly, a victim character. So you have Poseidon, or Neptune, as the Romans called him, and you had Athena, who was real angry, or Minerva, yeah, who was also angry. So it turns into less of a monster story and more of a victim story, and so the appearance of Medusa stops being, big and scary, and more of a pretty hot lady with snake hair.
I think the tragedy element makes it so much better, because initially...
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I thought you were going to say the tragedy story makes her hotter, but...
Oh, well, that too.
That too.
I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that. But yeah, so ugly that she turns things to stone is... I mean, it's okay. It's interesting.
You're so ugly. Everyone died. Everyone died. The end.
Thanks, Patrick. There's something about a tragic figure who wants to be accepted or wants to be loved, but every time people look at her, they petrify and turn to stone.
And so she just gets real
jaded, spiteful. Maybe.
But she was also, in the tragedy story, pregnant with Poseidon's child,
yeah.
which children too, which was Pegasus and the giant that I can't remember.
Giant with a gold sword. I know what you're talking about.
Yep,
but no. And then gets killed by another son of Poseidon, Perseus or Zeus. Well, is Perseus Poseidon or Zeus?
Oh, jeez.
I think it's Zeus. Yes. Son of Zeus.
Yes, because wait. You're getting mixed up with Percy Jackson.
No, wait, is it? I don't know.
Guess what? I got the internet.
The internet. If only there was some machine that we could use to instantly get the question of any question to answer. That's words, all right.
Yep. Keep stalling.
I'm gonna keep stalling.
Keep stalling.
All right. I'm gonna start talking. Ready?
Okay. Half-brother and great-grandfather of Heracles. So that would mean that he is
both children of Zeus.
He's a descendant of Zeus.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Solved. Now I'm gonna get back to talking. I hadn't started yet, but I'm getting back to it somehow.
You hadn't started talking?
Well, I'm still talking.
What have we been doing for the past 45 minutes?
I'm not saying anything of substance, unfortunately. If I were to try and speculative shape a Gorgon,
oh God,
how would it happen?
Lizard men from the
lizard men from skateboards. Are you about to say the stinking Hollow Earth lizard men?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh,
Mark Zuckerberg lizard men. Guy with stare that make you go, oh God. Yeah. That's my. That's mine.
See, no.
Why not?
There's nothing.
He's got legs.
I don't know how to
Wait,
make
which one are we doing? Are we doing the monster one or are we doing the
Either.
Tragedy one?
I want to figure out how to do either.
Because Tragedy one is just sad lady with snake hair.
Yeah, woman with snake hair, which...
At least we get a monster with the old one.
Yeah.
So, wings, poison, glare, stone, glare, snakes. It's a dragon, right?
Okay, you
it's
know what it is?
It's a Quetzalcoatl.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I got you. Well, Quetzalcoatl are feathered serpents, and no feathers on Medusa, I don't think.
It's a oh man, what are they called when they amphitheater?
Amphitheater, yeah.
It's an amphitheater.
That for all you dragon enjoyers out there, as you know, is a serpent wings, no legs, serpent and wings.
Though it is also depicted as having human like arms and legs, so that doesn't help.
That's not an amphitheater. Then that's not allowed.
That's just someone's
it's just a
persona.
Guy. Oh,
it's just a scaly. Let's be honest. Wrong type of conventions.
Although it would be really funny seeing someone at a convention like wearing a snake costume, but then just really buff arms and legs coming out of it, just human arms and legs. I love that.
So are you gonna about to spell into like a Hydra theory?
Oh no, I've got something better.
Okay.
So Medusa is something that you can't really explain. That's not it. There's more. I raise you the elephant's foot of Chernobyl.
Okay.
It's something horrible and twisted.
You had me? And then you lost me. Now I know what the elephant's foot is.
Radiation. It's
okay. I was hoping
that turns you to stone.
It's a cancer gun.
Medusa is a misshapen blob that might look like a woman, might look like a monster. It's got what looks like snakes might be coming out of it.
Sure, yeah, and if you find it like the elephant's foot, it grants wishes.
Oh, no, well, it'll grant someone's wish if you have like a mortal enemy
that you want to die.
Yeah. Don't go and touch the elephant's foot if you know what's good for you.
Don't tell me how to live my life. I'm gonna go lick the elephant's foot.
Don't lick the elephant's foot.
I'm gonna go lick the elephant's foot. Caleb. No one can stop me.
Caleb, no. No, I mean, that's honestly the best I've got. I don't...
Magic.
She's a magic woman with snakes for hair, and there's also no way to really do the snake body.
Yeah.
Because I like iterations of Medusa. I mean, obviously, we've got Clash of the Titans influencing us here, obviously. Near and dear to my
Argonauts.
heart. What a beautiful movie. Jason and the Argonauts, too. That's Ray Harryhausen doing the stop animation on those. The stop motion. Beautiful work.
Okay.
We're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
It just happens.
It just happens.
That's the Snicker Snack podcast. We get sidetracked. Anyone surprised?
The sidetrack podcast. Gorgons is dumb. They got snaketail. They look real cool.
What
about the bird?
Oh,
this one's way more up your alley.
All right. Well, Caleb, you did the research on the bird, so let's...
Ardana bird.
I'm
probably mispronouncing that because it is a Filipino legend of the Tagalog. It is the story of Don Juan and his brothers.
Two brothers. I don't remember their names.
Don Juan, Don John. No, that's a castle format. Either way, Don Juan and his two brothers, essentially
they go in one by one, don't they?
They go in one by one because their father sees that Don Juan is going to die in a dream. And so it's like, hey, whoa, let's get that checked out. And so they send the brother to go find this bird, the Ardana bird, which apparently has a song that's so beautiful that it'll cause you to heal or to not die.
And it is Don Pedro, Don Diego, and Don Juan.
Yep, Don Pedro. So I think Don Pedro goes in first.
Yes.
Don Pedro goes in first. He gets the song. Song causes him to fall asleep. And then the bird petrifies him.
After falling asleep, listening to the song of the Ardana bird,
turns the stone.
You petrify.
Which is great. Then you have Don Pedro.
Yep, he goes in.
Or whatever one. They go in, same thing happens, right? Don Juan, whatever. Don Juan meets up with a guy before going into the territory of the Ardana bird, and he's like, yo, eat these lemons so that you don't get sleepy.
Yeah.
Now, they're not really lemons. They're a Filipino fruit.
Like a citrine.
Very bitter citrus fruit. I'm going to call them lemons.
I'm
Filipino lemons. They're real small.
Yeah. I'm imagining he just takes the quote-unquote lemon and just bites into it. Just the citrine skin and all.
Just cuts it in half and then sticks them into his eyes.
Oh.
That keeps you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he gets lemons and a bucket of water. And the bucket of water is to stop the petrification of his brothers. You dump a bucket of water on them, they're not petrified no more. That's the story. As far as I researched.
Now the creature.
Which creature that sings and makes you fall asleep? That's kind of cool.
It's really cool.
I really like that.
And it leads into how do we use sound waves to pacify a person? And the answer turns out to be pretty simple because look at cats.
Right, their purrs can
they soothe you.
They soothe you. They have an actual mental effect on you.
Yeah, they're and also something about owning a cat gives you like a 40% less chance of getting cancer. It might be a higher number even than that, although I am not sure. And as always, keep an eyebrow raised for people posting just straight up lies on the internet.
Right, because they probably originate from Tumblr. And Tumblr is full of lies.
Tumblr is a land of lies. Believe nothing. Question everything. But it's interesting because one thing that I hear from multiple sources, and it raises, as someone who really enjoys science, it raises my eyebrows to an extent is this real? And it's that tiger roars, when listened to, can paralyze their prey.
Yeah. No,
let that digest.
We learned that today.
We did.
And I was having a conniption fit because I'm like, that sounds like some bull that you hear on like a Facebook mom post.
Right? And I don't know. I've read it, and apparently trainers say that it affects them after even years of training. Wow. To me, that's like a jump scare effect of, oh, that's a tiger. That's a tiger. But no, like maybe
it activates your fight, flight, or freeze response, and just causes people to freeze.
But supposedly it vibrates at a frequency that messes with your nervous system and delays the reaction of running away. Which, if you've been roared at by a tiger that's running at you actively, tigers can run really fast, so that half-second's delay is not going to do you any favors.
Well, what about a digital recreation? Because the what is that company that's got the lion?
It's the most famous roaring lion.
MGMT or whatever company
something
that
like
is.
That I think
that lion isn't roaring because that's not a tiger's or a lion's roar. That's a tiger's roar. It's just
people dub a tiger's roar over a lion's roar because lions don't roar. They chuff. Yeah, I think
it's kind of funny.
They groan.
But wouldn't that have the same effect on a person?
Maybe not. Maybe not if it's coming from a tiger's vocal cords. I mean, that's if it even does anything to begin with.
Sounds some Facebook mom magic.
Right. It sounds like pseudoscience.
Sounds like your mom.
A lot of people say maybe, but I don't know. But no, so applying this to the Ardana bird, animals in nature can produce infrasound that can definitely soothe people and maybe paralyze people. I think maybe why the tiger sounds so unrealistic is that they use the word paralyze, because that implies you can't move at all.
Right.
I think it's more of a jolt where it's like, oh, and by the time you get over it, the tiger's on you.
Yeah, paralyzed for a grand total of half a second. That's just plenty of time.
It makes a difference. So the Ardana.
Maybe it lulls you into a sense of
security or because I mean, I don't know. Sound has effect on people.
Absolutely.
Vibrations in the eardrums and yada yada, sound, whatever. It's interesting. I don't know much about audio.
Nor do I.
And that explains why my audio setup is an absolute nightmare 90% of the time. But I would be willing to believe that there could be some sort of effect where it's like, oh yeah, when the bird sings, it causes you to get sleepy.
It directly influences the part of your brain that wants to go to sleep. It puts you into REMs.
That would be third
level sleep. Maybe not.
You get real tired. You get real sleepy.
I've just had a thought. What if the song of the Ardana, because they talk about petrification after falling asleep. So what if it puts you into a state of sleep paralysis? A waking nightmare where you can't move or do anything, and you're just laying there listening to this bird sing.
So my take on the Ardana bird,
right,
on the petrification part, right,
mm-hmm,
is that it's a very specific environment that the bird's in. So what if it's not the bird that's causing the petrification?
It's like a flower or something,
or it's something to do with the overgrowth or something in the area where the bird is, right? So it's like, if you lay down here, the freaking roots or whatnot or vines or something are gonna cover over you and harden or something.
Or even better than that, the bird has a symbiotic relationship with some plant or we'll say some plant in that area where it gets you to sleep, and then you lay down and some sort of plant oils get absorbed through your skin and just you can't move now.
What about a carnivorous tree where, because it can't really draw things in by itself, so it has a symbiotic relationship with the bird, and the bird calls in the creatures, whatnot, and they go in and it sings and they fall asleep, and then the tree takes over it and uses it as nutrients.
So I'm picturing a branch with an Ardana bird singing, maybe feeding some of its babies. Oh, that's another thing, is the paralyzed victims the Ardana picks pieces off and puts them in its nest to feed them.
Or what if because the Ardana bird is said to have a healing song and all this stuff. I don't see the Ardana bird being a predator. I see it more of like a fruit.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the trees are fruiting or something.
The trees bear fruit, and that's their side of the mutualism.
What if the fruit?
Yeah.
What if it's those little lemons or the citrus fruits? And so if you eat those,
that's why the Ardana's immune.
The Ardana's immune, and it's why you can't be. Well, one is you're having a hard time dealing with the fact that you're puckered up.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't fall asleep. But even if you did or laid down, the trees aren't going to grab you because the citrus or whatever. It's still a deep cut.
This does raise the question of, okay, well, this is a tree thing growing. It having to grow over a person enough to... I feel like the immobilization has to come from a chemical agent, because I don't...
Wait, which part of the immobilization?
Not the falling asleep, but although that could work in contrast or work in tandem with a pollen that the tree releases.
Well, I mean, some of the most deadly toxins
come from plants.
I mean, look at cyanide. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not surprised if there was a chemical thing or something that could cause a flash calcification or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Although then pouring water over the person
wouldn't do a whole lot.
How's that going to solve?
I don't know. I never got to that part.
I'm not sure if the bucket of water is that good of a solution.
Yeah, worked on his brothers.
Yeah.
Worked on Don Pedro.
I've got a mental image that I need to project. So you've got the Ardana. You've got it singing on a tree branch. And you're walking, and maybe there's some high moss. And if you brush the moss aside to look at what you're walking over, it's just bodies. And they're all they've all got roots tapping into them, draining that nutrients, and the grove of trees is just silent except for the Ardana bird song.
Vampiric trees.
I like that.
That is, I like that. symbiotic environment.
Right.
It's good stuff.
So now we've hit an hour.
Let's keep going.
I'm going to say
We got to go into the
countermeasures.
Weaknesses, countermeasures.
Yeah, that's what I was going to transition into.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, do we want to take them one at a time, or kind of... We've come up with...
There's a couple blankets, but there's also specifics.
Right. All right, so starting with I guess we'll go in order. Basilisk.
Basilisk. It's chicken cry.
Well, I'm not sure if the sound of a chicken is going to kill a snake. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. I also believe that. Maybe, I don't know, it's...
Get yourself a honey badger. Because at the end of the day...
let's go!
At the end of the day, honey badgers are really good at dealing with snakes. And if this basilisk is... We kind of came up with it in an African setting, which makes sense because spitting cobras, but not really Greek. We're going to stick with Africa. A spitting cobra, or I guess giant spitting gaboon viper, which is equally intimidating. I'd say more intimidating. Gaboons are terrifying. I love them.
I've never had the opportunity.
It's the best snake. We're going to put a picture. They've got...
I don't know. You can say it's the best snake, but my heart is still there for the boomslang. It's also got a cooler name.
It does. The boomslang is just a fun name.
It's peak. It's S tier. S tier name. S tier. It's got a ridge. Like it's not shaped like a snake. It's shaped like an eel. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. To counter a big snake,
big weasel.
Bring a big weasel, or better yet, a machete.
Yeah.
Wear your Steve Irwin sunglasses. Maybe put on like a little bit of a bandana over your mouth, so you're not going to breathe in its vapor
until it bites you. And
until it bites you
directly.
And
also, it's 40 feet.
Oh, we're talking 40 feet.
Well, not 40 feet. That's how long were king cobras again?
18 feet long.
Let's go with like 20, 25.
I think that the biggest ever. Oh wait, hold on. I'm getting a message. I'm getting a message from my sponsors in my brain. They've reminded me of the biggest ever viper, Leophis.
Okay.
Leophis was a giant viper, up to 10 feet long. Same family, I believe, as the gaboon viper and rhino vipers. The genus Bitus. Yeah.
Wow,
that's a good name.
I gotta love scientists.
Yeah,
genus Bitus.
They bite. It's because they bite.
I always thought that like scientific names for things were like real specific and fancy and whatnot, and then you realize that half the time they're just shitposting.
Bitus gaboonica is the gaboon viper, and it's because he bites. He's a bitey boy. But yeah, Leophis is a 10-foot long viper, and I think potentially could have swallowed a person whole.
10 feet?
10 feet.
That's 6 feet of person.
6 feet of person.
10 feet of viper.
10 feet of viper.
That's 4 feet left over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's probably got 6 feet of stomach in him. If not, maybe a 15-foot.
It goes after children.
Goes after anything that looks at it.
Yeah.
If you look at him funny, he's going to gas you. We've made Bill Cosby as a snake. I don't like that. We're going to...
Some in the pudding.
Pudding pops. Razzle dazzle.
So, I say we make it a little bigger.
A little bigger. So 2025?
I like that 20-foot range.
So it's an anaconda, but probably even chunkier than an anaconda.
Anaconda, but king cobra is 18 feet.
Slender.
It
needs to be able to eat a person.
Thick.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be much thicker.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't because it's not a constrictor, so it doesn't need to be as chonky. But once it eats something, it's going to be sitting there for a good long time.
Yeah. I need you to see. We're going to do this after, but Caleb's going to see. He's going to witness the true power of a gaboon viper and how chonky they are.
Okay.
Because they are quite chonky.
Do you think a gaboon viper could envelop something as big as a human?
Absolutely not.
Not like a gaboon viper, but like the chonkiness if we were to round it up to the size of what we're trying to go for.
Oh, absolutely. No. I think that a 15-foot gaboon viper could swallow a person with minimal difficulty because they have a wide head. They've got a wide... I'm making a thing with my hands.
And you got big hands.
So big triangle-shaped head.
Dang.
That's a 4-footer.
Okay.
Because they can be 4 feet and I believe like 15, 20, 30 pounds.
Holy
They're chunky
smokes.
boys. They're really chunky boys.
Okay, so 15 to 20 feet.
Yep.
Big snake.
Big snake.
Gaboon viper. Wear a face mask. Hear me out. Okay.
Nope, no guns.
Have a gun.
Too easy. It's too easy.
12 gauge.
It's too easy. It's too easy. But yeah.
Buckshot.
Everything we've proposed, the sunglasses and the vapor mask, solve the problem of its projectile venom.
Right.
But then you get to the point that it's a 20-foot long Gaboon viper, which Gaboons have not quite Death Adder.
Well, it's a viper, so it strikes quick.
It strikes within 1/4 of a second. Or
and it's
less.
heavy.
It's heavy.
So it's going to be hitting you like a freaking warhammer.
A warhammer with fangs. May I also add, this is my excuse to gush over Gaboon vipers. They're my favorite snake. I love them to death. The longest fangs relative to size of any snake.
Oh, great. So they're even bigger.
Their fangs, I believe, can be 2.5 inches long.
Oh my God.
Inches.
It's like through your hand.
Yes.
All the way.
Absolutely. And
Holy
necrotic venom. It's great.
Oh, of course. Naturally.
Yeah, no, what a snake. Also just invisible. Okay, we're talking about the basilisk here. We're talking about Bitus basiliscus. I'm dropping that right here.
Bitus basiliscus.
He's the bitey basilisk. He's going to get you.
It's such a dumb name.
Right.
I love it.
I absolutely cannot give a Latin name to everything we talk about here because I only know a select few of the really good ones. The Bitus genus, I love them. Yep. But I'm committing to Bitus basiliscus.
We're sticking with the Bitus.
Mm.
It's terrible. I love it. So 15 to 20 foot snake hits like a sledgehammer, covered with probably 3-4 inch fangs that can spray.
Okay.
5-inch fangs.
We're gonna upscale them.
How big
if
do these fangs need to be?
4-foot snake has fangs that are 2.5 inches long.
God.
We are multiplying that by 5.
What's it gonna do with 20-inch fangs?
Kill you
on the Impala.
It's 20 inch on the Impala. All right, well, that's baller shot caller. All right,
before we get copywritten,
sidetracked again. Oh no, we might get copywritten.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Hopefully not.
Your singing's not that good.
It's true. It's absolutely not. Big fangs, big snake. I mean, it doesn't make snake. It doesn't make sense for a snake that big to have 2-inch fangs. Why would it?
No, but why? It wouldn't need 20-inch fangs because
this thing could be eating small buffalo if it's 20 feet long.
Yeah. So why would it need to go 20 inches deep? It just makes it
pierce easy.
Right, but also you end up with a case that because it's longer means that it's more vulnerable, and that's a very sensitive part that the snake needs.
They regrow them monthly.
Oh, okay.
Almost monthly.
I take that back. But it also means that they need to allocate more resources to growing something really long that's a lot more fragile, and because of the nature of how the tooth works, it's going to be weaker than a normal fang.
Well, fangs are always hollow. Actually, here we go. Here we go with the snakes again. Spitting cobras, which we're just borrowing the fang structure from, have a more solid fang than a regular snake. Because a regular snake has just a hollow channel through which or some of them have groove fangs where the venom runs down the groove. Usually a hollow channel down the center, and then it outputs in the front. A spitting cobra has, we're sidetracked as always, a spiral. It's essentially the same function of a shoot through the venom, but it's a spiral structure which does something to the pressure, and so they can shoot further.
Interesting.
Yeah, they eject venom with more force.
As they should.
As they should, because they need to spit it 16 feet.
Well, then they have those. Cool.
They have those. So more dense fangs.
Dense fangs.
However, it's like a rail spike.
20 inches is really long.
Okay, let's cut it down. Let's cut it down to 10.
Still pretty long. That's yay big. That's
on a 20-foot snake. That's also just an upscaled Gaboon viper.
That's fair. And also thinking about thickness of the tooth itself.
This thing would weigh maybe 400 pounds.
That's awesome.
I just did. That's assuming a 40-pound Gaboon viper. Let's say 30 pound Gaboon. I can't do math. So run at it with a machete and hope for the best.
Well, no, because that's how you end up dead. We don't just run at things. Okay, it's a bad idea.
All right.
Right. So we're gonna come up with a different solution to that. It's a strike creature, so it's gonna strike at you. Well, if we're doing big fight, right, and you're not by yourself, and you got a couple of homies with you, and you can't use guns, well, shields.
Shields.
It's gonna go for center mass because it's so dang big.
I wonder if it could punch through a shield.
No, I guarantee you could not.
A wooden shield.
I guarantee you could not.
A plywood shield.
Why are you using a plywood shield?
That's a good question. I guess we're not going to use plywood shields.
They didn't have that.
I want the snake to win.
I do not. You're going to want shields, and you're going to want something stabby.
Spear. Reach.
Maybe, but also remember, big snake.
A lot of muscle.
Honestly, I'm thinking a really long kind of like pitchfork type deal. Again, it's
like a snake hook, like what people use to handle big snakes.
Well, you're not going to really be able to handle it. Now, bill hook.
Bill hook.
The best weapon.
Great weapon.
Good for dealing with French people, good for dealing with snakes.
It's the perfect cow weapon, too.
Yeah.
I like me a little bit of reach.
Yeah. So, right, because you don't have enough of it already.
I need more.
You have some buddies with some shields, and you got some buddies with some bill hooks, right? You rile up the snake, and you have your shields up. So the snake's going to strike at you. It's going to knock you really hard.
It is.
But
then when your buddy chops it in the neck,
it's going to have, because it's bigger, it means it's not going to be able to
recoil? It is.
It's going to recoil, but it's not going to the recovery is going to be longer than with an actual viper.
I don't know about that.
It's big. It's got more mass.
If the muscle is relative to the mass, it will still recoil very quickly. Because something like a black mamba or a death adder will strike you 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Or I guess a mamba is just going to keep chasing you and keep biting you, because mambas are they're horrible. Yeah. They're mean. They're mean-spirited.
So I'm saying shields, bill hooks. Or, hear me out, you get 8 or 9 guys with crossbows, and you just pepper the hell out of it.
Okay.
Bows, crossbows, whatever.
I've got another one, and this one's pretty simple.
Okay.
You know how humans have dealt with giant reptiles in our past?
You cut their heads off and bury them?
Well, no. I was referring to the Aboriginal peoples of, not Africa, Australia.
You grab it by its tail and slam its head into the ground?
The giant ripper lizard, Megalania. Because allegedly what they did is burn down forests to kill them. And I'm not suggesting something so drastic as a whole forest.
You see, I always avoid fire because it's simple. But
is it equally easy to guns? Do we want to... I was just going to say, it's a big snake. It's not going to be going anywhere. It's probably going to be coiled to ready that strike. So throw a torch on him.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but
a
also...
Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, again, if you don't want to... The thing is that that's totally viable. You could totally do that. I mean, we've had pyro weapons for a long time.
Almost human history.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking like Greek fire, fire pots, that type of deal. We've had those for a really long time, and we've used them for a really long time, so it's fair. But again,
it kind of takes out the challenge.
It does kind of take out the... Also, so you gotta have something that's going to be jellied or going to stick to the snake, or you're going to coat the snake in something flammable, because if you throw a torch at it, it's just going to go away. It's not going to kill it.
Probably not.
It's too big. So... Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw a Molotov cocktail at it, sure. That would totally work. But I've been trying to do it without being that cheap.
You're right. Okay, so we'll say from now on, fire is poor sport.
Fire is poor sport. Unless
we're dealing with something really big.
Like a Wendigo.
Ooh.
Because
Wendigo...
I think it's a charcoal stick or an embered stick or stake that has to kill it?
I think so. Yeah. Because they also burn their victim. We're going to talk about Wendigo.
We'll talk about that at some other point. But, yeah. Okay. Honestly, Molotov cocktail. Psh.
All right, so that was Basilisk. And now we're at an hour 16.
Cockatrice. We're going.
It's small. And we didn't really give it a ranged weapon. Maybe it can spit its venom, maybe not.
But
we dedicated most of that to the basilisk.
I don't think it's
so. Essentially, we are dealing with a cat that, if it bites or scratches you, paralyzes you, and I guess your skin gets cancer. You get skin cancer.
So, layer up.
Layer up. Put on some gloves and get a bat.
Falconer.
Get a stick.
just get a baseball bat and some falconer gloves. Let's go.
I mean, maybe we didn't really give too much ecology for them, but I mean, they're living on moors in England, so they'll come at you through the tall grass, like all good raptors do.
As you do.
And they'll try to get a nip in.
Yeah.
If they can't get that nip in,
now, are
they
they
will either...
solitary creatures or are they pack hunters?
Now, we could see both. I can
see
see both
the
ways.
thing is that according to the mythology, it would be a
solitary
creature. They're real small, though. So
I mean, I can see raptors existing solitary. I mean, we don't even really know that they hunt in packs.
If black-footed cats exist, then small raptor boys can also exist.
Yeah, and they can be totally solitary.
They can total solitary. Right.
Right.
So we're going to go with solitary.
Solitary. Just one. It's
Yeah.
going to come. It's going to try and nip you in the heel. And if it gets that nip in, say goodnight. But if not, you should be safe. Hear me out. It jumps on your chest. You wrap your arms around it and fall forward.
It is a bird.
It is a small... Those bones are hollow, and you will remind it of that.
Now, should you be dressed up like you're about to be in a canine training program?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Don't give it access to your skin, but otherwise I think you should be safe.
Hear me out. Grab it by its neck. Falconer glove.
Yeah?
Grab it by its neck. That's if you have to grab it. Honestly, I'd avoid grabbing it.
I would prefer to grab it.
I would throw a stick at it. A big stick. A throw-in stick.
I mean,
it's a classic way to kill small animals.
It probably has bird-like intelligence, so even if you have a stick and beat it on the ground, it's going to go, whoa, I'm out of here with that.
Oh, no. Not hit him with the stick. Throw the stick really hard. That's how we've hunted a lot of things throughout history.
We adopt the Sasquatch strategy. That's what we do.
Oh, no.
So here's something that I was going to cook on, as they say, and then I didn't. So a cockatrice paralyzes its prey.
Right.
Its prey grows that stony layer of outer skin within maybe a few hours. And then when it comes back to it, because its prey is hidden, protected, preserved, yada yada, it uses its signature claw as like a scalpel to open it. So that claw could be dangerous.
Right.
Even if you're wearing layers. But enough layers, I think, would invalidate that.
Just wear metal.
Yeah. Or just... We were talking about this the other day of a suit of medieval armor counters a horde of zombies.
Not really.
Not necessarily a horde, but it's a good tool against
it definitely
zombies.
doesn't counter it because what kills knights is being grappled.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, they still have to get a bite in on you.
They got to get a bite in, but if you're going to get swarmed by zombies, they're going to start ripping things apart. So they're going to start ripping your plates off. Now, a good Gammonson, fantastic against zombies. But also, not being able to be grabbed, even better. So cover yourself in Vaseline and run. However, we're not dealing with zombies. We're dealing with your little raptor boy.
Little guy.
So, I'm saying, if you got to deal with that, I'd say a good chainmail shirt,
right,
and then some like a Gammonson and some falconer gloves. Right now, they're probably going to nip at
ankles,
your ankles,
and they're going to nip at something that's close to their eye level.
Sure,
because what are they going to be eating? Sheep.
Yeah,
probably
sheep. Grab and the
sheep and rabbits.
The best place to bite a sheep would be on its little leg.
Yeah,
because that's the only thing exposed.
Otherwise, wool.
So I'm saying you're going to be wearing heavy gaiters and assless chaps. Go hard. Some rodeo assless chaps and some big long boots can be real helpful in this situation.
Yeah. And then it just comes down to, I mean, not even really a war of attrition. It will either decide that you are not worth the effort and leave, or you will get a hold of it, throw a stick at it, do something, and break it.
Again, just shoot it with a crossbow when it's not paying attention. Honestly,
it's
no different than a gun. Just if you're gonna hunt it, don't let it see you,
Right.
much like any other time you're hunting something.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot it with something because you're a human. That's what that's your God-given right is having something with a trigger.
We got so good at stabbing things that we started doing it from greater distances.
Started doing it from different postal codes.
Yeah. All right, so that I think takes care of cockatrice. Now, did we really do anything for gorgons?
I mean, nothing that
unless we
it's
count
already...
the elephant's foot. I guess.
Well, let's just go on normal gorgons because
Yeah.
whatever, it's magic. Nothing that what Perseus already did.
So we need a pair of flying shoes. We need Hades' invisible cap, and we need a really reflective shield.
How about a pair of aviator sunglasses in a dream?
Well,
the reflective ones.
Maybe
The reflective ones.
Yeah. I don't know.
Now, are we doing Clash of the Titans, the old one or the new one, where the Clash of the Titans where she has a bow and she's nutty with it?
See, the new Medusa in the I think it's the 2013 Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Makes me feel a type of way. Firstly, secondly, she's very fast and she has probably 30 or 40 feet of snake tail to work with, and she is scary.
Mossberg 500.
Mossberg 500. Honestly,
and a pair of aviator sunglasses.
Against some sort of unholy demigod like that, bring a gun. That might be what it comes to.
Honestly, I'd say something like automatic would be helpful.
Yeah.
I've been stabbing with a larger caliber. Now, the number one weapon used to hunt elephants in Africa by poachers is the AK-47. So
terrible.
7.62 is pretty good caliber for dealing with problems.
Don't kill elephants. They're cool.
They're guys.
They're wise.
I wouldn't say they're little guys, but they're guys.
They're little guys at heart.
They're little guys at heart.
I like them. They're silly little big dudes.
Little pachyderm.
Yeah, little pachyderms.
But if you are dealing with unholy abominations unto God, we are going to invest in probably a 308. How about a BAR? I want 20 rounds of hell just in that general direction, right?
See, if we go on
it's very old, but it's fun.
If we go on a monster hunting trip, I'm going to be decked out with a sword and shield, and Caleb's got the Glock.
Yeah. Dude, if I have only a Glock, then I'm going to be ill prepared. I'm bringing everything. I have the little stuff. I have big stuff. I'm going to be decked out in the armor. I'm going to have an AR, and I'm going to have a dream. The American dream, which is hunting things that don't deserve to be alive.
Yeah, and don't forget the aviator shades.
And the aviator shades, very important. And a chicken. Or a rooster.
A crowing rooster.
That's the only way.
To probably not kill a basilisk, but it adds intimidation.
It's true. Nothing's more intimidating than a rooster. No. Can't really say that, can I?
Well, if I were the size of a mouse, I would be terrified of chickens.
I am not the size of a mouse. I am the size of a man. A man that's holding his... I'm not going to say it.
All right.
His rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Viewers, use your imaginations. I apologize for him. I, on the other hand, am the size of a doorway, and I just exist.
You have to duck through doorways half the time.
Unfortunately, at times.
Either way. Gorgons if it's big, you're gonna have to suffer.
Oh wait, I've got a Gorgon technique. Assuming it's not original Medusa from Clash of the Titans, no bow. You close your eyes, you have two swords, and you run at them with the windmill technique.
Is that the arms over top of each other, or
Absolutely.
is that the spin in circles?
Oh no, that's arms over the top. Your little brother found out that you ate his snacks, and he's coming at you.
Right.
Except
Face
you
Azeroth.
are the little brother.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Gorgon's gonna put a hand on your forehead. I hope she won't.
Cover yourself in fire and run at them. Yeah, that's gonna. All right. Moving on.
Finally,
bird.
The Ardana bird.
It's a bird. Burn the forest down.
Yeah, or hear me out. Lemon juice. Eat the fruits of the bloodthirsty trees that we dreamed up.
Eat the lemons and throw a net on the bird.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a bird.
The bird can't physically hurt you in any way.
Drink a Monster Energy.
Drink all of the Red Bull.
Fill a super big gulp with 5-hour energy and drink the whole thing. And then run at the bird completely naked.
Oh no.
It's the only way. Truly.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to die.
Maybe. At least not from the bird, but
not
you will
from the
die
bird.
from a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You won't die. You'll get the bird, and then
I can smell colors.
I can hear colors.
They sing me wondrous songs. I don't know what this recording has been, but it has been an absolute. We've gone off the rails entirely. Yeah. We are nutty with it.
You know, I quite like. Well, I both like and dislike the multiple creatures format because on one hand, it's great. On the other hand, I keep having ideas and we have to backtrack.
It's true.
Although that just happens.
On the other hand, we are also so unorganized.
It's true. We do not plan.
We don't plan anything.
Our plans are.
It's like, oh, we do this and this and this, but if we have an idea when we're doing the third bit where we're like, oh, we got to fight the creature, but we come up with an idea for the creature from the speculative biology part, it's like, well, now we got to go back and we got to do that and then we got to go forward. And it's terrible.
Do. And that's kind of how it is.
It's horrible.
And that
we will just, we'll suffer and we'll do it. And I'll edit this and I'll suffer and I'll do it and it'll be great and it'll be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But so Cockatrice, Basilisk, Gorgon, Ardana bird. Cockatrice, we've decided is a raptor.
Basilisk's a big viper.
Cover yourself in cling wrap and throw yourself at it.
Mm-hmm.
Basilisk, big snake.
Don't go at it 1v1.
Don't go at it 1v1. Throw a lot of honey badgers at it.
Yeah.
Collect them into a net. Throw them as far as you can.
Oh, no.
Just put them in a sack. A sack full of honey badgers. And then throw them at the snake.
It swallows the bag whole and gets chewed through.
I feel like I don't know how long you could keep a honey badger in a sack.
They wouldn't enjoy being in a sack.
I don't think that sack would last very long.
No, honey badgers are notoriously difficult to hold.
They'll bite you while you're holding them.
Yeah, they twist around. That's what the loose skin's for.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Or set it on fire, much like everything else. Set it on fire. Gorgon.
Don't look at it.
Don't look at it.
That's really it.
Have a cool shield.
Maybe have a
real shiny.
Shield, have a gun. Have a sword.
I have this cool shield and this Glock that I found.
You remember the part where Perseus just pulls out the AK and says, "Hey, Medusa!
Medusa!
Yeah, come on, kill me! Do it now!" Yep. And then Ardana bird, I guess, eat lemons. Put lemon juice in your eyes.
Eat lemons, throw nets.
Throw nets.
That's the Sigma grind set. Eat lemons, throw nets.
Yeah.
Sounds like a t-shirt.
I guess none of these animals can be. I mean, a bucket of water, I'm not sure if it's going to do anything.
Yeah, not against poison.
I'm not sure if the
venom.
mythical remedy does
Toxins.
what it needs to do.
Look, I always thought that the mythical remedy of just dumping water on a person to turn them from stone to a person is kind of lame or dumb. But in a folklore mythological setting, fine. In our weird speculative real thing, not so much.
You know what I've got?
Uh-oh.
I've got some world building info. I've got it. Here it is. So, in our new theoretical setting that I just came up with,
where everything's terrible.
All of these things are theoretically real. The fruits produced by the trees on which the Ardana bird nests are a cure-all for petrification.
Ooh.
So, if you're going to go hunt a basilisk, bring some of those with you. Maybe eat some. Maybe rub some in your eyes. I don't recommend that. It's very citrusy. But theoretically...
Actually, what if rubbing them into your eyes is what prevents the
right.
basilisk venom from actually taking grass?
Yeah. World building on the spot.
It keeps you from being blinded by chemical agents or toxic agents. There you go.
Just
beautiful.
A little bit of lemon burn.
Use that in your world building.
Right.
Just cut a lime in half. Shove both halves into your eyes. Profit.
I
love it. All right, well... I think that's long enough for hour 30.
Hour 30.
We can go longer. It just means I got to edit more.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't care. I'm not mad. But I think we've gotten about all we can do.
I think we've fulfilled our requirement.
Our quota?
Our quota.
I think
we've met our cryptid quota.
I'm just going to hate this in editing. But on that note,
this has been the Snicker Snack Podcast.
Snicker Snack, baby!
I've been Cal. He's been Caleb.
I've been Caleb.
Yeah.
He's been Cal. And, stick lemons in your eyes.
Stay Snicker Snacking.
Stay lemon labbing. Yep.
That's right.
Good.